The translation is thus:
Give yourself to God daily. Keep yourself for God daily. And may tomorrow be as today.
We give homage to the Creator, who is like our Father, and who is like our Mother, who is everything that we can perceive, and everything that we cannot perceive, who is everything, yet is no thing, who comes to us in the form of the NTRU, who is the light of the heavens, light of the inner planes, as well as the light of our lives, who shines the light for us on the path of Ma'ati, which is the path of truth, justice, righteousness, and harmonious balance, who comes to us in the form of the light of vitality, giving us the strength and the endurance to live and act upon that which we know to be true. Homage to you, the one who shines in and through us as a beacon of light for those who are blind to the facts of their place, their position, and their responsibilities in the divine scheme of things. May we be Ma'akiru, true of thought, word, and deed, to our highest reality, and in our moments of crises in the dark nights of the soul, when it appears that everyone and everything else has let us down. So it is, and so shall it be. Amen Ma'at. Ma'akiru. 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 MC, dua. Live.
2.
All right. Before we get into things, I want to address our friends and supporters online. So, welcome to the conclusion of our communion service. We'll continue to invite all our people online to come out and experience the communion with us, because this communion experience cannot be properly transmitted via social media. So if you can't come out to the services, hopefully you can invest your time, your energy, your money, and maybe you can see you at Wet Pet in August. Maybe we could see you at Coney Island in June. Maybe we could see you at a Doom Day in June. Maybe we could see you in Ohio in February. As spiritualists, we all must always make pilgrimages to sacred sites and sacred ceremonies. See, now we're at a precarious position right now in the evolution of our people. We're at a period of time where we have to gather our wits about us. We have to gather our resources and connect, like really connect with the people whom you deem as family and they deem you as family back, because when it's all said and done, no one's coming for us and no one's coming after us. Everything that has something to do with the well-being of us as our people will have to be generated amongst ourselves. Because there's a saying that says the deities will not do for a man what a man will not do for himself. So on that note, I greet you with Yahweh. Yahweh! So just as an update, it's hard to believe just like 6 months ago, I almost wasn't on this plane in existence. Y'all remember that? Y'all forgot? So I'm back. Just as an update, I'm feeling good. I'm almost in full recovery. I got a slight limp, but it's getting better. But the point I want to make behind that is, if I'm honest, I'm not quite what I was before, but I'm 100% of what I'm supposed to be now. And if I had to choose how I was before the crises and after, I pick who I am after the crisis. Y'all got it? Because I don't know about y'all, I got big goals in life. And when you have big goals sometimes require big challenges. Big challenges sometimes require great sacrifice. Great sacrifice will always lead you to spiritual elevation, if the sacrifice was right. Spiritual elevation, spiritual ascension. Y'all understand what I'm talking about when I say ascension, right? It means going to your next level. This is always a precarious thing when it comes to spirituality, because ascension can mean death. That's right. You could go through your next level through death. Death is sometimes a gateway to ascension. Or it could just mean the death of a certain aspect of yourself. So oftentimes highly spiritual people get confronted with a serious health crisis. I think Farrakhan even beat cancer twice. So just because you get through something don't mean that's it. Oh, I beat it, so I'm good. Some leaders get shot and they have to come back, try to recover from that. Sometimes we make it, sometimes we don't. See, we've gotten to this comfort zone in our community where we fractionate how we live our lives. We don't live as holistically as we like to believe. Some people get into intellectualism and they make a religion out of intellectualism, and they start trying to convince everybody else that intellectualism is going to be our salvation. You got to keep reading, got to keep studying, do your research. Then we have the people that's into the health thing, and they make it seem like everything is about getting colonics. The only way we're going to save ourselves is we eat right. You got to eat right. Forget the intellectualism. What you put in your body, brother. And then we have the spiritualists amongst ourselves, and they make you think that you can ritualize everything away. And sometimes we are called to task, and our metal must be tested. And sometimes you're going to have to use everything you know about intellectualism, everything you heard and know about health, every ritual you could possibly do to get through a crisis, because you might be required to regenerate yourself from the dung like Kemper. Because if you're serious in your spiritual path, your metal must be tested. And it's not for the gods, it's not for the deities. The deities don't have to send you through a test to find out what's in your heart. The test is for you to find out what's in your heart. The test is for you to find out if you have an authentic connection to source energy like you claim you do. Because until you do it, until you show and prove, it's just a philosophy, right? And it's all fun when we get to talk about the philosophy. So I'm trying to get you all prepared, because I think a lot of you consider yourselves highly spiritual people, right? At least organically, you believe or you know in your spiritual capacity. So you might have to go through it too. So when I say when it's your time, when and if it's your time, rejoice. Because it means the ancestors have something powerful in store for you. You're like, well, if they got something powerful in store for me, why are they sending me through this? Because Negroes. Because if you can't get through that health crisis, what they got for you, what they have in store for you might kill you later on down the line. Because you have to show yourself approved through crises. To be highly spiritual, to be able to help someone, you have to be able to sustain high levels of stress.
What?
Some people think they join religion and spirituality to make things easy. It gets easy in some instances, but some of us just make it look easier than what it really is. So it comes off like it's a misnomer. Some people be like, since I became spiritual, my life got worse. But you have to build your capacity to handle stress, because stress is just your response to something. There's no such thing as stress. It's just your poor response to just natural organic life processing. So the crisis is not a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just sometimes necessary. So I'm going to jump into the reading. And I'm not going to get too in-depth with the reading, because there was a lot of readings done. For those who don't know, spiritual readings is just how we give ourselves a heads up for the year, what to look out for. I know some people don't believe in readings. They feel like we should be able to figure things out ourselves, and you do. Sometimes, for some people, readings are actually confusing. The reading is a way of just letting us know what's ahead of us so you can make educated decisions. Because you're going to do what you're going to do anyway, but you got a leg up when you at least know what's going on, when you can make educated decisions about your options. You be like, if I do this, then this might happen. If I do this, then this might happen. So now you can move forward taking responsibility. So I'm not going to saturate you with information, because in our community, that's what we're doing nowadays. We're saturating the community with 30, 40 years of information. We got people with long reading lists and things like that. When you come up here, when you come to places like this, you're looking for people like me to make it easier for you, right? Make it plain. True. You don't want me to give you a whole other book list that's going to take you 25 years to understand what I said here. And then I'm going to be 25 years down the line, and we playing catch up 25 years at a time, because we don't have time for you to read every book I ever read. And a portion of it was nonsense. Sometimes a portion of it you just be wasting your time. Sometimes it take you 5 years to realize that the book you was reading was nonsense. Somebody's at the door. So what I'm saying, that instead of saturation, because sometimes saturation of information, when people saturate you with information, sometimes it gets confusing. Would y'all agree with that goes on? It'd be so much information out there, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to believe. And sometimes the information just generates more questions. And now you're stuck. Now it's hard to make educated decisions because you're confused. So what's important when it comes to the reading is depth and clarity. Would y'all agree? So what year are we in now, according to the European calendar? 2020. So in numerology, how do you break that down? 2020. Foundation is 4. So now for us, the number 4 represents law. It represents ma'at, represents law, and it represents foundation. So we have a thing called the Jed pillar. It represents 4 different levels. So it's talking about the 4 foundations of a building, 4 foundations of a temple. And it is said that Kemet was the temple of the cosmos. When you see the statues of the deity, like, was that Ra in front of me, that pedestal that he's on is called Ma'ah. Ma'ah means that which is true, that which is right, that which is straight. So it's telling us the deities that we acknowledge, that which you venerate, that which you worship must be right. It must be real. It must be true. It must align you to your highest reality, the best version of yourself. So Ma'at, so it's telling us that Ma'at is the foundation, the law of everything that we do, because we like to believe that everything that we do is for the greater good of ourselves in all, right? So therefore Ma'at is the law. So now they say 2020 represents what? Everybody went with it before 2020 came in. They said 2020 is what? What did they say? What's the metaphor?
Perfect vision.
Said perfect vision. Is it perfect? Would you say visionary? It's the year of the visionary. So we're going to go with vision. But is 2020 perfect vision?
No.
No. 2020 is just vision without the need for visual aids. Doesn't mean perfect vision. I mean visual aids, glasses, and what's the other? Contact lenses. Essentially, glasses and contact lenses are magnifying glasses. It allows you to see clearly what's here. You got farsighted and you got nearsighted. So when you have 20/20 vision, you can see things that are far and near relatively easy. Y'all follow that?
Yeah.
So now we're going to make the correspondence with 20/20 vision with Kesu. Can y'all say Kesu?
Kesu.
What is Kesu? Huh? What you mumbling?
Is it food?
Nah, libation is drink.
Ritual or ceremony.
Ritual or ceremony. So for spiritualists, ritual or ceremony are our glasses, our magnifying glasses. So rituals and ceremonies magnify what's there, what's down the road, and what's clear, so we can see relatively clearly. Y'all follow? So now if a doctor says you have 20/20 vision, that means you don't need glasses, right? You don't need contacts, right? So if year 2020, we correspond that with Kesu, so this is a year that we're not going to have to rely heavily on ritual. 4 represents foundation, right? 4 is our law, right? So this is your last chance to really reestablish yourself in the truth with who you say you are. Because what comes after that, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the next 5 years could be hellified if you don't get your foundation right this year. you'll be like floating in the wind till the one comes back around. So this is very crucial. So this is a year where we don't have to focus so much on such heavy ritual just to get by. Listen to that. We don't have to do heavy ritual just to get by. Some people in the African tradition, they're so ritualed out that the ritual is actually a distraction from life.
Or themselves.
Or themselves. Some people go so hard with ritual that they don't actually do no real work in life. And then they stuck and they scratching their head like, why is the God's forsaken me? Why are the ancestors not offering? It's like, you ain't doing no work. And then on the other side, you got people that go so hard in life and they never confer with spirit and they're confused why life is not delivering. So a balance must be struck. I spoke to my teacher in Biti one day, and I'm into tonics, health tonics and stuff like that. So I asked him one day, because he's in Biti, he's the Grand Master. And he always looks great for his age. So I asked him, do you be taking tonics and stuff like that? And he'd be like, nah, he just eats healthy. He don't take no supplements or anything. And I'm like, so what about the tonics? And he said, tonics are good. Tonics are good because they help bring you back into balance. But when you're in balance, you shouldn't have to sustain yourself off of tonics. So if you're sustaining yourself off of tonics, then your health really needs to be assessed. So now let's watch where we go. So now, we shall be so in tune that we shouldn't have to rely so heavily upon ritual just to get by. So if you're going hard with this ritual and you have no more peace of mind than the next cat, or no more physical accomplishments than the next cat, can we verify if it's even doing anything for you? You got some people that know nowhere near as much as you, and they seem like they're better off than you. So now we got to really assess what's going on with you, what's going on with us, what's going on with our energy. So Ma'at is foundation. So the foundation of Ma'at, I'm not going to get into the truth, justice, righteousness, harmonious, y'all know that already, right? All right. So essentially on this fundamental level, Ma'at is relationships.
That's right.
Ma'at is relationships and interrelationships. So essentially, we want to be successful, right? We want to be prosperous, right? We want to have unabounding prosperity, but it's all going to come down to your relationships and your interrelationships. So success is going to be based off of relationships. Nature exists in me as me, correct? Exists within you as you, correct? So it's never going to be a spooky force moving outside just self making things happen. So the way your prayers get answered is going to be through people. So we can never get away from the relationships. So the glue of relationships is service. What I can do for you, what you can do for me, the exchange of goods, money, services, or favors. So now, let's look at it this way. So we all said we're trying to be successful. Just to fast forward real quick, it's going to be a good year for it. Yeah, I'll be like, when are you going to get to the reading? I'm explaining the major themes of the reading so you could get your mind right as you leave this building and walk yourself into your prosperity, but your mind got to be right. This year is very crucial. You can't rest on your laurels because the reading said it's going to be a good year. It said it's going to be, you better make it be a good year, because what happens is people get relaxed. This reading's going to be, I just need to keep doing this. Nah. So if we're talking about being successful, so if you're not already successful, you have to assess what's going on with you. If you're not already successful, if you haven't achieved what it is that you set out to achieve, or if it's not right around the corner, then there's been some violation on the level of relationships. Remember, the Creator's working through people. And if you made your prayers and did your prayers and your offerings and you're not getting what it is that you get, then there's some fault going on in your relationships and your interrelationships. That's how it works. See, everybody keeps talking about money. Everybody keeps talking about land and what we need to do as a people, but everybody always avoids how are we acting in our relationships. Y'all know what we just went through in the past few months with other parts of our community. No one wants to have any act right about them, but you're supposed to give me your money. Or I'm supposed to give you my attention. And you've been abusing my money or my attention. So relationships is a very touchy subject amongst us as the people, because we're very self-righteous, especially us Kemites. We tend to be very self-righteous. We use that word ma'at almost carelessly. A lot of times, many of us think that we're the ma'atic one in the relationship and everybody else need to get their life together. We're like, I can't fool with her, she need to get her life. I can't fool with him, he need to get his life. And here I am as a spiritual counselor, and I'll be knowing both sides of the situation. I'll be like, oh, so really, so you ain't gonna take no responsibility, and I'll be knowing the whole story, both sides, so you ain't taking no responsibility? So my question is, if everybody wants success, right? I slow down. It's okay, the reason said it's gonna be okay. So we want success and we want unbounding success. I ask you this question. Have you shown up properly in your relationship?
Two.
No, that's, you're supposed to contemplate that. See, y'all answer too fast. And so if we ain't where we supposed to be as a black folk, then y'all know y'all answer too fast. There needs to be a whole lot more improvement in the relationship. So, have you shown up properly in your relationship? So let's go with your significant other. Have you shown up properly for your significant other in the relationship? Have you shown up properly for the temple in your relationship with the temple? Have you shown up properly in your work? So here's the real question. Have you shown up properly to attain and maintain that which you want? Like I remember we was out in Ohio, New Orleans, said they wanted a temple that was built from the ground up on the lake, on the lakeside, right? And then in here, I hear a lot of people talk and dream out loud about what y'all would like to see us achieve. So now the question goes, have you shown up properly in that relationship to attain that, not just attain it, but to maintain it? That's a potent question that you cannot rush through.
True.
Ma'at always goes back to relationships and into relationships. So how many entrepreneurs in here? Okay, that's a good thing. So now understand, there's a difference between entrepreneurialism and a side hustle. And I'm saying as entrepreneurs respect the code of business. A side hustle is just a side hustle. You can get some things right or not. As an entrepreneur, you cannot afford to really be making mistakes because you're trying to do your life path. You're trying to do your career. So it's certain things and characteristics that must be in your mind at all times. So as for the entrepreneurs, this part of the lesson is productivity. Do you have the productivity to attain what it is that you're looking for and to maintain what it is that you're trying to achieve? But entrepreneurs, number two, quality. Do you have top quality product, or do you think because I'm black and I'm in business, therefore everybody should support me? And that's what I'll be seeing in our community. Just because they blind me like, your stuff is crap though. So I'm just supposed to give you $5 because you're trying to do something. It sounds harsh, but I'm saying you gotta respect it. If you're talking about success, you gotta know the rules of success. 3, preparedness. So you and your product, whatever it is that you think you do, does it look like it's Walmart ready? Do it look like it could be on the shelves with the rest of that stuff in Walmart? And some people are not honest. Sometimes you might have to just admit, nah, I ain't ready, just by looking at these questions. Because we're a people that's often full of ideas, but we have no follow-through. Before they had GPS, before you could determine how to get from one destination to the next destination, you used to have to use a map. And I taught this lesson before. A map is M-A-P. That's marketing, advertising, promotion.
That's right.
That is the code. Respect that code. If you do not respect that code, you will not be successful. Each one, marketing, advertising, and promotion, each one is a science in of itself that cannot be taken lightly. And if you don't know how to do it, you better hire somebody to know how to do these things, or else you will not be successful. Because all three of those things take extreme amounts of energy. Because what happens in our community, we're very creative, so we have ideas and we create stuff, but then we know nothing about business. It's a difference in having talent and knowing how to do business. We're the most talented, but we be illiterate as a mug sometimes, as far as business-wise. So, do you have a high-paying skill set? And if you have a high-paying skill set, can you build a business model off of that, around that high-paying skill set? And then, are you willing to invest at least 10 to 12% of your total earning back into your business? So, are you willing or are you prepared to strategically place yourself in the purview of your targeted demographic? Some of y'all, I'm still waiting for the reading. This is the reading. Especially for entrepreneurs. Isn't this personal enough? It's not vague. So are you prepared to place yourself strategically in your demographic? So personally, are you prepared to strategically place yourself in the purview of a potential suitor? Or commercially, your target audience, right? Or your patron? Are you prepared? All of this is coming down to, are we willing to invest in our personal development? We like talking about personal development, but are we willing to invest in it? Are you prepared for the ultimate underbounding success and prosperity? So when I say placing yourself strategically in your demographic, your suitor, or your patron, you got to ask yourself, why are you select? Why do you think you're select outside of you saying you're select? You right now, in your state of health and how you look, your physical health and your finances, are you a blessing to anybody? Are you the answer to anybody's prayers? We be putting all these prayers out in the universe and we be wanting the universe to configure to us perfectly, but we got to do nothing. So who are you perfect for? I'm done. What else is there left to say? We got to do some self-reflection. So my reading says we have to rid ourselves of procrastination and disingenuousness and fear. My reading was positive over the year. Two of the governing deities was Seker and the other one was Geb. And it says Geb is satisfied. Who is Geb? The earth. What does the earth represent?
Foundation.
I thought my eye represents foundation.
Physical body.
Trick question, huh?
Physical body.
Physical body, we say physical plane. Resources. Remember, fruits, vegetables, minerals come from the earth. So it said Geb is satisfied. That means Geb is ready to put out for us. And who is Seker? Seker is a metal, that's a word. It looks like Kheper. He has the head of the beetle. Seker means secret, but Seker also means plan. So it's saying you could get the success, but only if you have a plan. The universe is full of unabounding energy, but it needs a template to come through. That template to come through is your plan. So stop asking for success and you got no idea what you think it's supposed to look like. So get yourself aligned, prepared, and organized for unabounding success. So let's look at what's going on with you personally. Let's do some self-inventory. Do you know how much income you make? So when we say that, we look at it on paper. You be like, I can make 40,000. I can make 60,000. Or I make 40,000, 60,000. So now, since you know that, do you know what a budget is?
Two.
All right. Do you have a budget?
Two.
Talk about it. Do y'all know it said that most African Americans have less than $500 to their name? So that should be your starting goal. Let me get at least $500 in my name. Because you don't got no real budget if you ain't got at least $500 to work. That means you're not even prepared for crises. That crisis will wipe your $500 out. If you got an SUV and you got to get a tire, that's $300 like right there. So income, budget, do you have savings? Now, after you got that established, do you know how to invest? Investing is putting a portion of it towards something so it can give return more than what you put in, right? See, now we're spiritualists, right? So it's all energy. So now let's go with the correspondence. So income represents energy. Do you consider yourself high energy, high salary, middle energy, or low energy? High. You're high energy.
High.
Okay, so what was the second one? We said income, and then I said, do y'all have a budget? Do you know a budget? So if you're high energy, do you know how to control your energy? Remember, budget is control. Can you control your energy? Some people have high energy and they expend it as soon as they get it. You see some people act like that with money, right? They get a bonus, instead of investing it, they start spending it. So money was never the issue. It's your literacy and your discipline about money is always the issue. Because if you have no discipline and somebody gives you a whole bunch of money, you'll spend it just as fast as you got it, and that's a pathology. And that's all I'm trying to do. We got to slow things down and really look at ourselves and be like, damn, I'm bugging. So energy, high energy, low energy, medium energy, budget energy, meaning can you control your energy? What was the third one? Savings. Do you know how to conserve energy? Some people, they have high energy, don't know what to do with it till that high energy becomes anxiety and they start expending the energy recklessly because it agitates them to have the energy. And some people act like that with money. The money be burning a hole in their pocket. They just got to spend it on something. And an investment. Investment equals energy cultivation. Cultivation is culture, about planting seeds. Can you plant seeds, or do you plant your energy? Do you give your energy to healthy, wholesome relationships for the betterment of self and all others? So what we're talking about is the metaphysics of work. According to Ani, it said, if you never do the work that needs doing, then the field will never get plowed. So we are people of ideas, and nothing's happening in our community because people are not putting in the work. We're just talking about it. It goes on for saying, for many will talk in empty fields, while those who silently cast their plow to work have fruits to harvest. So this is not about being the loudest, the most seen in the community. This is about being silent and doing the work and letting the work show for self. But the work still is going to be based off of relationships. So this is not, well, we have to stop using spirituality as an excuse not to do the actual work. That's been an accusation against spiritual people. You so spiritual, why you ain't got stuff going on for you? So we got to stop hiding behind spirituality as an excuse not to do the work. So this is not about working harder. This is about working smarter. This is not about working harder. This is about learning how to sustain effort. It's a difference. So on the physical plane, it says ma'at, right side up. So when it says right side up, meaning they could come either right side up or upside down. Upside down doesn't mean bad. It means it comes with a challenge. Right side up means it's a flow. So on the physical plane, we already said Gad was good. And now we got ma'at, right side up. It said things are in your favor, so rejoice. So I don't know what all of you are going to do personally, but it just said chill, things are in your favor. Judgments will be made in your favor. Justice will be satisfied. In whatever endeavor, order and harmony will be achieved and will strengthen and nurture you. The most harmonious balance possible. The solution to the present situation will achieve balance on many more levels than perhaps you were looking for. So, meaning you're trying to do some things, stop trying to control how you think it's supposed to come to you. Just release yourself from it and just do what it is that you do, and let the ancestors in the NTRU do what it is that they do. So if you're talking about prosperity, you want it whatever direction it's coming. Not like it needs to come from over here, because that's where I'm looking for it. And the ancestors tapping me, be like, oh, chill. What? So now, that was the physical. So now we deal with the mind. The mind is Nefer. What is Nefer? It's upside down this time. So what does upside down mean again?
Challenge.
Challenge. You're like, listen, you just said it was all good. And it's funny, the deities have a sense of humor because we just said it was all good. Nefer means good and it's upside. And you're like, what the heck is going on? Nefer, so it means don't rest on your laurels. It means things may seem fine on the surface. Remember, this is dealing with specific circumstances. This means something different to each one of you in here. Things may seem fine on the surface, but the beauty only goes skin deep. You should look deeper into the issues. The plans of the person may not be what they seem. Your plans may have been hastily conceived and carelessly executed. You may be indulging in trivialities and neglecting the more important, deeper issues or aspects of the situation. Like I said, I can't expound on it. That means something different to everybody. The situation might not even presented itself yet. Remember, we got all year to live this, but according to this reading, this is going to happen in the first quarter. Now, spirit. Spirit is Ab or Ib. What is that? Huh? The heart. Right side up. That's favorable. So it says, contemplate your heart, be circumspect in matters. Have you been deaf to the voice of your conscience? Examine your inner feelings. Examine your inner feelings, conscience, and goals regarding the spirit of the matter. There's matter, the physical plane, and then there's energy. So we're talking about every person, place, or thing has an energy about it. So it's telling you to start tuning into your spirit, intuit what's going on or what forces are working through people. It is the key to the successful resolution of your issue at hand, the energy. We're spiritual people, so we deal with people on an energetic basis, not necessarily the words that's coming from their mouth. It says your own attitudes are the key to your success. So now, based off of Naswt's reading, they said the energies over the year, the Heru and Heru. Heru Sa Aset. What does that mean?
The sun.
Heru, the son of Aset. That's the particular expression of Heru we're dealing with. There's at least 42 expressions of the Heru energy. You'll see it, it'll have different crowns and stuff like that, and you'll be getting confused. Like, I thought Heru was such and such. Then who's Heru? Or if Heru, I know how that gets when you start reading books and start generating more questions. This one is specific. Heru, the son of Aset. It said, you are favored, but a challenge will be required of you. Remember, we said the reading of the year is good, but if this year we're representing Heru, that means our metal has to be tested. What Nas said, the world is yours. But the world is supposed to belong to Heru. But currently, the world is owned by Satesh. Satesh represents natural and organic opposition. Not evil, natural and organic opposition. That's why we feel like the world is against us as black folks. As melanin folks. So in this sense, Satesh represents the world and it must be subdued. We claim that we're gods and goddesses. We claim that we're sons of the sun, sons and daughters of the sun. We claim that we are rightful heirs of the planet Earth, right?
True.
Satesh will make you qualify those claims. He will make you qualify those claims. How did Satesh blind Heru?
Took his eye out.
Gouging the eye.
It's different. We'll go with the dung one since that's 5. He threw dung in his eye. He blinded him with dung.
He blinded him.
So that takes us back to Kheper. Where is the dung probably came from cow. So it takes us back to Kheper. Dung is the catalyst for transformation. And I know some people are like, why the Creator always putting us through so much? Why can't it be easy? Because that's the natural order of things, Negroes. Because Ra, in the form of Kheper, had to bring himself in existence through the dung. So if the creator of the universe had to go through the dung, you as sons and daughters of the creator got to go through some stuff too. Natural order thing.
That's some bull.
That's some cow. Dung. So there's a portion of the story where Naswt had to protect Heru in the marshes. It means in the wild, in the hood. So Naswt represents devotion. Naswt represents sacredness, your devotion to your sacred work. So your devotion to your sacred work will be your protection in the hood or in the wild. Okay? Het Heru is the other energy. I know, what do y'all think Het Heru represents? Magnetism, creativity, joy, intuition. Okay.
Imagination.
Also just being fly, right?
Beauty.
Can't forget that. Beauty.
Music thing.
Music. What is the beauty there? All right. This is what it says. It says, this is for the leadership, the sorority. It says, the leadership must always maintain a state of grace and poise. That's Het Heru. Royalty. Heru and Het Heru. That's the archetype of the living king and the living queen. Leadership must always maintain a state of grace and poise. In fact, check this out. In fact, the entire legacy must do it. So y'all not off the hook. The entire legacy must do that. The women must be even that much more gracious, sensitive, nurturing, loving, adorned in our Kemetic way, adored, sweet, fragrant, and pent. I know y'all like, damn, it's a long list of stuff. Y'all right?
That's a goddess right there.
That's a goddess, she said. Y'all writing it down?
70 years ago.
Remember last year, coming into the year, I made the fragrances for the men and the women. That was before I even did the reading. So, as the women, so are you wearing your Sunday's best? Are you wearing your best fragrance? Y'all quiet.
Right, go like I am.
But, check it out. The men must do so the same. So the men are not off the hook either. Then it says, perhaps the woman should do more pampering also for the men. Such is the nature of reciprocity. So I know some people are like, well, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. That's what you said, Minyet? Some people say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. So now we go back to MAP. What does MAP mean? Marketing, advertising, and promotion. So since we're talking about books, so every book must have a proper, appropriate title. Every book must have a professional cover, or should have a professional cover. You know, cats is putting out anything these days. It should have properly, the content should be properly vetted and sourced. Since y'all want to go with the book metaphor. So the best title that any of us need is not priest, priestess, king, goddess, goddess. The best title is man and woman. Because if you're a real man or you're a real woman, that separates you from male and female. Until you're a real man and a real woman, you're just a male or female. So take that title with honor as Kemetic men and Kemetic women. So it's telling you, be a real Kemetic man according to the standard. Be a real Kemetic woman according to the standard. Do you look good? Do you smell good? Are you confident? Do you know who you are? Do you know what you're doing? Are you harmonious in your relationships and your interaction with the opposite sex? Are you harmonious in your interaction with spirit? Because spirit is the feminine. The knowledge is the masculine. So is your masculine connected with your spirit, your spiritual feminine? No one goes to the library looking for mistitled books. No one should have to sift through levels and levels of dung. Like that kind of, No one shall have to sift through levels of dung to finally discover who you really are. And I'm not saying no one has to be perfect, but I'm saying you have to be authentic. So this year, we will be favored with money. Remember, this is somebody else's reading, so you see, it's good that we did the reading over here and all the way in Ohio, they coming up with the same stuff. Different NTRU are telling us the same stuff. This is the year about that bag. Check this out. It says, this sachet is very beautiful. The sachet comes with the warning before grace, not simply because it came in favor and requires no ketsu. Remember I said 2020 means we should not have to rely heavily on ritual just to get by. And so it's like we don't even have to do rituals for the money no more. It's coming. So I'm saying rejoice, because as much as we've been getting on y'all the past few years, obviously you did enough to open the way. But y'all still not off the hook, and I'm saying be better. Be better, be more efficient. That's always the charge. Excellence is our standard, not just getting by. I'm tired of just getting by. What about you? We want abundance.
That's right. True.
It said, but it also says beware the heavy heart. It calls it the spirit of death. Meaning it's saying beware of attitudes in the spirit of sadness. Because this letter is heavy. It speaks of life's final journey, not due to God's plan or the actual spirit of death, however, due to one's own heavy heart. So death is not coming for us. It's not our time. But your own thoughts can bring it to you ahead of its time. If you're harboring darkness in your heart, if you're harboring depression and low vibrational thoughts, weighed down by one's own personal thoughts, feelings, sadness, and resentment. Therefore, there are warnings with this sachet, yet healing and solution to this energy brought and lays within the advice given by Naswt. We are here having these feelings or circumstances in our lives where we are feeling trapped. Some people are feeling trapped, they're feeling stuck, harboring bitterness, crying tears of oppression. All aforementioned things are all feelings that will spiral into depression and possibly manic behavior that draws death. This is what we got to be. This is why we have to be mindful of our thoughts, mindful of the quality of our thoughts. Therefore, NTRU is asking us to honor and worship her by shifting our energy. And in spirituality, all of you got the tools to switch and shift your energy. You don't have to stay stuck. The blessing, she wants us to enjoy life. Go out, experience fun. I'll say it like this, within your means. Go out and experience fun, joy, and forget about the past. Don't harbor resentment. Have a heart light as a feather. We must live in Ma'akaru and allow ourselves to be grand. Now understand, we live in very trying times. We're living in trying times where people don't know whether to believe in science or spirituality. And I'm saying there's a lot of energy that's going on that's bombarding us right now, and it's going to challenge what we perceive to be what science teaches us, and it's going to challenge many of us on many of our religious and spiritual ideas, because most of us don't have the framework to interpret what's coming at us. So I like science, but science is not my religion. My teacher taught me like science is just spirituality that can be verified. And spirituality is science that has not yet been verified. So I'm not waiting for the white folks to verify what the ancestors already verified for us. So I use science when it works, and I'm using science and technology now, because I can still talk without it. It just makes it easier sometimes. but I don't have this microphone when I'm at home worshiping and praying. So what I'm saying is we're being bombarded. We was talking about the 5G and how it's throwing people off. But is it 5G or is it just the time we're living in where our evolution is being pushed? So which and how you evolve is going to be on you, because according to the theory of relativity, you exist on many dimensions at the same time. You're, at any given time, you're being influenced by your past and your future and your present, right? That's a lot of information. Your ancestors are working out their karma through you right now on a genetic level. You going through some stuff right now, and you're trying to create this self-image of yourself or how you want to be in the future. So your future is giving you energy. Your past is giving you energy. Light is giving you energy. Heat is giving you energy. So that's a lot of stuff that's coming at you. And sometimes these things echo and bounce off one another. You might start hearing voices because many different dimensions of yourself is working on the same issues, just on different levels. And it is the body's goal to work with you and trying to integrate yourself as a whole. So that's why we have to be good with our bodies. That's why we have to take care of our health. Because your body is trying to work with you to harmonize those things. So those things that you call a health issue just represent certain blockages. And because we got all this energy, it's going to increase and it's going to increase till you learn how to shift that energy. So it's keep sending energy to what you call a disease. What it is really trying to do is trying to free up a blockage. So as long as you don't deal with your emotional issues, that's what they call disease. So we have to go back to the organic sciences on how to project our intent with true thoughts, with true feelings. And also you got to ask yourself, what is it that you're resisting releasing? What are you afraid to change? That's really the essence of disease. You're required to let some things go and you ain't ready to do it. And it's going to require, this is what's happening right now with us. Just because you've addressed the issue doesn't mean you're healed. So we're addressing a lot of things in our community, but it doesn't mean we still got a lot of damaged people walking around, and hurt people are still hurting people. And so it goes back to like, how do you dress a wound? Dressing a wound is not the same thing as healing it, right? It's a protocol to healing. So you dress the wound, and you got to undress it, and you got to clean it and dress it back and come back again. So just that is the process of healing. I see people get discouraged because they get on the healing protocol and they didn't totally heal, and you be like, it's the same as the wound. You got to address the issue, and then you got to uncover and do another level of healing, address it again. It's going to be several layers before you get your complete healing. Just so y'all know, this is just part one. I ain't got to do the whole reading today. That's why I said I'll cover the major themes, because this is going to be our conversation all year. We don't got to get it all today. We didn't have to get it all in Ohio. So all the communions are going to be about how do we do this. So lastly, for today's session, it says, the NTRU says, a blessing of money this year. Again, rejoice. But check it out, a blessing of children this year. Remember, we're talking about being fruitful. We're talking about getting.
Everybody looking around the room like.
Obviously, that means something to a whole lot of people. But check it out. The king did not die. I didn't. Jehuti says, ground yourself. You are not well grounded. Dreams must be replaced with the purest of action. So remember, that was the reading that our priestesses did in Ohio. That corresponds back with, remember, the plan and get it. So you can't just dream. You're going to have a plan to actually live yourself into the dream, right? So I'm going to end it with this saying by Ani. Those who are diligent shall flourish, and those who are exact will be praised. Diligence, to me, it speaks of discipline. Exactness speaks of discipline. There's also a saying that says, diligence produces gains, and gains do not endure when diligence is abandoned. So us as Kemites, we should be some of the most disciplined people around, since we claim our spiritual tradition produce gods and goddesses or divine beings, right? And discipline got to be your middle name. Diligence, so we'll say, discipline produces gains, and gains do not endure when discipline is abandoned. Diligence equals success. Exactness equals recognition. That's why it says the diligent shall flourish. That's Siruj. The diligent shall flourish. It should be abundant, and the exact will be praised. What are they talking about? Success and recognition. This is the difference between someone who has a good idea and another person who has the skill set to act on that idea, and they get all the credit. So now, which one will history remember?
The actor.
The actor. Now,
Both. The actor.
all right. That's it, y'all. Let's stand up.
He's red man right now. Time for some action.
Shimmy the top.
Shimmy the top.
Brothers right over left, sisters left over right. Say we go peace and satisfaction. Do you new Uncle Jocelyn?
Dear Lord, Uncle Jocelyn.
Give energy around the room. Bring the energy into the heart. Ground it out with your right foot on the count of 3. Stomp, walk, salute.